Sophie Bed and Other Problems is a new show that's starting at the Tabard next week, and it's written by Connor Burke. Connor's with us now. Connor,
Hello.
Hi. Tell us a bit more about the show.
So Sophie Bed and Other Problems is a 1 hour long comedy, and it's about a young couple who are in their early 20s, Sophie and Ben, and their friend James, who you never see, is writing his dissertation on modern day millennial relationships and what it's like to be in a relationship in 2018 at our age. And he's convinced Sophie and Ben to come in to a crowd full of people and talk about what it's like to be in a relationship at this age. And so they agree, and that's the premise of the show. So they talk about how they met, their experiences on Tinder, a lot of funny moments that happened throughout the course of the relationship, and you really get to know these characters on a really intimate level.
You've done the show at least once before. Tell us a little bit about that and whether this is going to be any different.
Yeah, so we did the show in October in the Lion and Unicorn Theatre for a week, and we had a great time there. We had an amazing response. And now for this run in the Tabard, so in the couple of months between the two productions happening, there's been a lot that's changed in terms of direction and writing. So it's been a challenge for Dylan and I to grasp our head around that, because we're so caught up in the way it was done, but it's also really exciting as well, and I think people who've seen the show before will love it even more now. It's a really exciting new production.
So tell me a little bit more about your characters.
They're polar opposites, but they're immediately kind of attracted to each other. It's such a quirky kind of love story. So he is very quiet, shy, awkward, and she's just so vivacious, and it's an energy that kind of works really well, because in the space, here, it's such a small space, and the two characters' energies just bounce off each other so well, because they're so different, but yet also there's something that's inherently the same about them, and they both share the same values, and they both want the same thing, and I think that's why it's kind of relatable, although a little bit on the same hand otherworldly, and but yeah, I think that the two of them, I think it's, people often look at the show and be like, those two would never be together in real life, which may be true, but actually it's not as unbelievable as people might think.
Dylan, you've been in the show before. Tell me how this differs for you, because this is now being produced as part of your theatre company, isn't it?
Yeah, it's trying to balance the two has been really interesting. It's my first, me and my best friend Andrew, we're doing the after school club, and this is our first time producing, so obviously there's things that we're learning as we go along, and being in it at the same time, those challenges are sort of heightened, and I take everything so, not personally, but everything is, I love this place so much that I want everything to be perfect. I'm a bit of a perfectionist anyway, but the fact that I'm producing and in it is really intense, and the rehearsal periods have been really intense, but it's meant that we've got some really amazing work out of it. So I don't think it's hindered the process at all, and Andrew is amazing at doing all the behind the scenes stuff. He works relentlessly to make sure he's talking to the right people, getting things sorted. That means that I can take my mind off that sort of side and focus on the creative side of it.
Now, Dylan, you've been studying at Arts Ed.
Yes.
So the Tabard is quite familiar to you.
Yeah.
How important is it, do you think, to have a theatre that's so intimate like the Tabard for a production like this?
This play relies so much on the audience loving Sophie and Ben. If they don't love Sophie and Ben, the play is a non-starter. So it needs a space that is intimate, where there's where you can feel that energy coming from the stage, which is why a space like this is perfect. I've done a production here before that was a similar kind of thing, and the audience, we had to do so much, is they felt like they were in it. When we flinched, they flinched. That's the kind of vibe that you need for this sort of play. The Tabard I love anyway, because to have a theatre like this in a community like this is so important, especially when theatre is becoming so exclusive. It's becoming something that only people who have a lot of money or a lot of time can see, and it's much bigger theatres who are getting all the audiences. It's so important to have something that's local, that is putting on productions by smaller companies starting out. If we didn't have a place like this, we wouldn't have been able to start our journey as a theatre company, because nobody would pay attention to us. So Chiswick is really lucky to have a theatre like this, and I'm so glad that I studied next door and have the opportunity to work here.
Tell us when the show's on.
It's on from the 10th to the 14th of April. It's on every night at 7:30, and then there's a Saturday matinee as well. So it's just the 6 shows, and then after that it will be on in August in Edinburgh at the Fringe.
Fantastic. Good luck with it.
Thank you.
Thanks very much. Thank you.